wait on that cue and take it away.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. I want to take a minute here to introduce Spencer Grover. He is one of my valued members, and we are one of the largest networking action franchises in the world, with over about 130 members. So one thing I want to mention is that every year, all my members vote for who is the Mastery Award, which is expert in their field. And he was voted that this year. So you guys are in really good hands by all of my NIA Twin Cities. I'll tell you a little bit about Spencer. He is an artificial intelligent enterprise architect, AI, and founder of Design Tech Consulting, an established technology company that helps businesses eliminate inefficiencies and enhance productivity through the power of AI. Equipped with over 800 hours of AI training and practical development, he has collaborated with both local and international companies. In this workshop, Spencer will cover the basics of creating prompts to get more out of any AI chatbot that you can choose to work with. He will be answering your questions, giving real-world examples of working with AI, and providing tips on how you can use AI to improve your performance. So please give us a warm welcome for Spencer Grover with AI Design Tech Consulting. Take it away, Spence.
All right. Thank you very much, Kim. I appreciate all that you do. You are a rock star with networking and keeping 6 groups going and herding cats every month. So I appreciate you and thank you for the introduction. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen, and here we're going to minimize some of this stuff. So here's what I know everyone really wants to talk about: convolutional deep Q learning, quantum neural networks, and networking, right? And an in-depth look into the algorithms of artificial intelligence. No, nobody wants to talk about that. Never mind. I was just joking. I'm going to hide the video panel here. Okay, so actually, the real agenda is only 7 pages long. Okay, so we're going to get through this real fast. So here we go, and then here's page 3. Oh, and then here's page 4. Oh, and there's page 5 and page. So once again, I'm joking. This is not a big me talking a lot kind of thing. This is going to be a hands-on, as much hands-on as you can, because it'll be my hands, not yours. But figuring out, taking your questions in the chat and finding out what we can do together with AI and really doing hands-on working with AI. So I will talk quickly about prompt engineering. And so if you have questions and you want something, there's something that you're really dying to find out, how do I do this with AI? Go ahead and throw it in the chat, and we'll take a look at those. I'm not promising we're going to do everybody's, but we'll certainly take a look at it and see what we can do together, because this is not going to be me trying to educate. Well, it is educating, but a hands-on education is what we're going for. So a quick thing about prompt engineering. So it was like a year ago, everyone thought there was going to be this cool new job. It's going to be a prompt engineer, and people are going to, there'll be people whose job it is to talk to the AI, and they're going to engineer prompts so that the AI can give users these great answers. And then quickly, everyone realized in order to get good answers from the AI, you need to be able to ask good questions. And so basically, everyone is going to have to learn how to be a prompt engineer. So basically, that whole job just kind of disappeared. So there's no positions out there for a prompt engineer, because you all need to be a prompt engineer. And all that means is being able to talk to the AI in a way that it understands, and in a way that you're really going to get the results that you're looking for. So, so one of the things that you can do, most people don't know, is that when you're talking to the AI, and you can use any AI that you want. I personally love Perplexity Pro, but there's a free version, perplexity.ai, and I will show you that here. But the idea behind a prompt engineer is, and I actually gave a prompt to Perplexity saying, I'm doing an AI workshop, and these are some of the things we're going to want to talk about. And so please give me an agenda. And in seconds, it generated this whole agenda for me. So I didn't have to really go do much with it. So we've got, it created this for me. So every time somebody comes into the room, it pops up the meeting controls in my way. All right. So a very simple prompt example, which is what you guys are doing, I'm sure, all the time, is, what are the key trends in the electric vehicle market? You're just asking a question, just like you would Google. But there's so much more you can do with AIs like ChatGPT and Perplexity. You can actually do things like a persona. So when you tell it, when you want to use a persona, you would say, you are a expert in, say, business law and startup companies. And so it really, what that does is it tells the AI, okay, I really need to be, it already starts looking into those areas. So it's going to really try to narrow down the focus of what it's going to give you answers from. So persona is a really good thing. And so then task is what everybody does. It's the, what do you want it to do? So in this example, you've got, and I can make this a little bigger for everybody. So the prompt is, hopefully everyone can see that. As a product manager for a startup focused on the eco-friendly transportation, so that's the persona, okay, is product manager, eco-friendly startup. Generate a list of 5 emerging trends in the electric vehicle market, okay? Now, the other thing that I think everyone should get in the habit of doing is giving it the target audience. So this really helps the AI tailor its response to who you want to get your message across to. So in this case, it is environmentally conscious consumers ages 25 to 40, okay? So if you can start thinking about, if you're just asking a question for your own good, that's fine. You don't need to put in persona or target audience. It will just, it will do the task. But if you're writing any kind of content, I highly recommend that you at least use target audience. And I would say go ahead and try doing it without a target audience, and then give it the same prompt with a target audience and see what kind of difference there is in the response from the AI. So, so those are the basics of prompts. There's a lot more to it that we really don't need to get into because I don't think it's very applicable for the average user. There's things called temperature, which basically gives the AI the ability to get more creative than its answers or less creative. But most users don't need that. So any questions on prompts? I see that some people use ChatGPT and Google AI. That's fine. I would use ChatGPT over Google any day. But I would use Perplexity over ChatGPT, hands down. And the main reason for that, most people don't know, is that Perplexity .ai actually cites the sources it's giving you the answers. Where it's getting the answer to your question, it cites those sources. None of the AIs do that right now. And Claude is another, I see that in the chat, Claude is another great AI. And so, but once again, Claude does not give you does not cite the answers or cite the sources for the answer. And yes, you can force ChatGPT to give you those sources, but it is you have to do that extra step. So hopefully that helped everyone. And you can, for persona, you can get kind of crazy. You can say you are a salty pirate, or you're a impatient fifth grader, and it's pretty entertaining what it will give you back. So, like I said, we're not actually going to go into all this stuff, so we're going to actually open it up to questions. Does anybody have anything they're dying to see done with AI? And I will show you. Here is Perplexity. This is not the pro version. This is the free version. All right. And so you can literally ask it anything you want here, and it will show the and it actually gives you some questions that yeah. So what is a Roth IRA? Sure. And very good point Jessica just made, that Perplexity Pro is free right now for Xfinity customers. So I would definitely take advantage of that deal if you can. So if I click on what is a Roth IRA, okay. Right away, what you'll see that's different is it's got sources up here, okay? And so then these little numbers down here are actually tells you which source that that answer came from. So this answer actually came from multiple sources, from number 2 and from number 3. So if you want to see what's going on, I want to find out, I want to check Perplexity's answers on this, you can just click on that, and then boom, it goes to fidelity.com, retirement, whatever it is, and there is where it got the answers from. Now, the reason that is so important is, I don't know if you've heard of what's called hallucinations, but hallucinations are when AI gives you an answer that sounds very plausible and sounds like it could be right, but because it is taken from multiple incomplete sources and kind of merged together, it is not actually the correct answer. And so by it providing these sources, the chances of Perplexity, quote, hallucinating are much less than with the other AIs, because you can actually check the sources yourself. All right, so once again, this is the free version. So is there anyone that has any burning question? I can show an example of something I've done recently. We can start with that.
I put my hand up.
Oh, I couldn't tell.
Spencer, yeah.
Okay.
I put my hand up. Not a question. I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about how I've used it, because I use GPT. And what I have found is I do a lot of government responses and responses to RFPs and things like that. And I have found that by using ChatGPT and putting the actual questions into ChatGPT, and it gives me responses back that I can customize to whatever my client's needs are, and things like that.
Yep.
But what I have found is you don't want to put your edited version back into ChatGPT, because then you're opening it up for everybody else to have access to it.
So that does bring up a good point of the fact that this is a public website, even though it's on HTTPS. What you put in there can be exposed to the public. So that is a very good point. And I was going to bring that up, but I figured somebody would ask about that. So thank you for handling that. So yes, anything you put in here, just assume that if you put it in, it's going to go public somehow. All right.
Yes.
I'll say that they're not sharing your data. They will say that they're not using your data to train the AI, but because it is a public website, there are packet sniffers out there all the time monitoring unsecured network traffic. And so that information could get extracted. So
Do you have any information as far as where we're going with AI? What the trends are, what we're looking at over the next 12 months or so?
sure, the trends are from, you've heard of large language models, probably. Those are the big AIs like Claude, GPT-4 Omni. And so those are large language models. They're getting bigger and bigger. Llama 3 has got 405 billion parameters. They're working on a new model for Claude that's over 1 trillion parameters. So those are called large language models just because they're so big. So the trend in AI right now is toward small language models. So they are actually much smaller and they're more specialized. So they're making small language models for medical, for their very specialized AIs that only focus on a certain area. And so that is happening right now. It's been happening for a while. So that is a big trend. There's also things called agentic workflows or AI agents. So kind of related to small language models, you can now have an AI agent where if you think of an agent like a travel agent, you know, you ask your travel agent, I want to go someplace warm for the winter, okay? And they come up with suggestions and they try to, you know, they do some problem solving for you based on incomplete requests. And so with agents, it's the same idea with an AI agent. It will then call large language models or small language models based on whatever the problem it's trying to solve. And so then it will actually then reach out to, you know, as many different AIs as it thinks it needs to solve the problem at hand or answer the question. So those are two very big trends with AI. So hopefully that, so the differences between Perplexity and the Pro version is a very good question, is that with the Pro version, so this is the free version, with the Pro version, you can upload files. You could upload, you can't upload like War and Peace, but you could upload some very large files and then ask it questions about those files. So it could be a 600-page PDF, and you just want to use Perplexity to ask questions about that PDF instead of you having to read it yourself. Consider it your own private Cliff Notes. And so that comes with Pro, and without Pro, you get so many, because I'm not logged in here, I clicked on the plus and it asked me to sign in. It asked me to put in my email address. Okay, so you get a certain number of free file uploads with the free version, and with the Pro version, you get unlimited uploads. So the other thing with Pro, so let me switch over to one of my Pro accounts. So I'm going to move my chat over here so I can. So as you can see, now I'm logged in. It knows who I am. I'm a Pro user. Okay. And so now let's start with the settings. Okay. So as a Pro user, I turned my AI data retention. As somebody else mentioned, with ChatGPT, you have that option as well. I always tell everyone, turn it off. I don't want them training their AI on my information. So now there's three big differences between ChatGPT Pro and Perplexity Pro. This is the first one. These are all the AIs I can use instead of just one. So you see here GPT 4.0, that is the same AI that ChatGPT Pro uses. The free version does not use GPT-4 Omni. It uses one from 2021. So any questions you're getting, any answers you're getting from the free version of ChatGPT is now almost 4 years old. So most people don't know that. So you've got the default Perplexity one. Somebody had mentioned Claude, which is a great AI. You've got Sonar Large, which is another one. You've got all kinds of different options here. And Grok 2 is back on the list. Grok 1 was there and then it dropped off because it had fallen behind, and now Grok 2 is back. So there is lots of different ones you can choose to work with here. And I'll show you in a little bit how you can switch streams in mid-conversation from talking to one AI to another. It's very powerful. Now, somebody had mentioned Stable Diffusion in the chat, or which AI is best for completing complex imagery and artwork. So now with Pro version, you also get 3 different image generation models. DALL-E 3, which is my favorite, and Playground, and then Flux. So Stable Diffusion was on this list up until a month ago, but it was my least favorite. And so I guess other people weren't using as much. It might come back on, depending on, but DALL-E is the best in my opinion. Let's see here. Can ChatGPT create presentation slides? It could certainly, it can create content for your presentation, but none of them can really create the actual slides for you. It would give you text. If you said, give me a slideshow on this topic and use these sources, it can do that for you, but you would still have to use PowerPoint or something else to actually create the slideshow. You could copy and paste the content that it gives you, and then you could put in your own images, but it will not create a finished slideshow for you. It can definitely create the images to go in the slideshow, but once again, you are going to have to actually finish putting that together. So somebody had a question of the difference between Claude and Perplexity Pro. So once again here, the beauty about Perplexity Pro is that you get Claude 3.5 Sonnet and you get Claude 3.5 Haiku included in the same $20 a month. Claude was only $15 a month. I think they're talking about it going up to $20 a month. So the difference between Perplexity Pro and Claude is that with Perplexity Pro, you also get these other, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get 6 more AIs than you do with Claude. So that's the difference. So, and okay, Slides GPT. I figured that was going to be happening sooner than later. And Beautiful AI does a great job, but once again, that's a subscription. So, that does a great job as well. So, yep, there's definitely lots of tools out there that are specialized. There are every day there's new tools coming out for generating videos, so they're getting better and better with that. And once again, those are usually their own subscription. And yeah, like Dana said, they're all moving to subscriptions. Yep. Can ChatGPT help with lead management communications? No. There are a couple different AIs out there right now, also for a subscription, that can help you with lead management. One of them is Now site, and it literally assigns an AI salesperson to each one of your leads. So if you want more information about that, contact me afterwards. But that's not the focus of what we're doing here. So let's see here. And also, it's not real good for finding contact information for people you want to reach, especially the free version, because that's from 2021. So with the paid version, you can actually, with Perplexity Pro, you can you could check yourself out, see what Perplexity is able to find out about you. It's kind of enlightening. But so let's just go ahead and show you, you can actually use Perplexity or ChatGPT, whatever, for doing research for projects or for buying something. I've used it to replace the airbox in my Ford Fusion. I'm going to move this over here. So that actually reminds me, I was going to bring up my library. So the nice thing, and ChatGPT also has this option, but you've got this thing called a library. So these are conversations I've had with Perplexity using multiple different AIs. And it understands misspelling. So I'm building a Linux workstation for my son, and he was concerned if Rocket League would be able to be used on Linux. I accidentally spelled it Linus, but it understood that and it answered the question anyway. So these are going back a long ways of different conversations that once you've had them, you can go back to them and continue that conversation. So I'm going to use, I'm going to switch to this one. So basically, I am got, the question was, need to add RAM to this workstation with these processors, and what are my options? And so I started this quite a while ago. And basically, so I was basically having a conversation back and forth. It's now one of the tips I would like to share, and one of the things that really help with dealing with AI is I like to build my prompts of what I'm going to give to the AI in Notepad++. It's basically a free advanced version of Notepad, and it gives you, it doesn't have any of the extra overhead that Word does. It's free, but it also has IntelliSense. So if you're talking about something and you've talked about it before, and you start typing, so like if I start typing business, see, so it gives you IntelliSense, which is kind of nice. It's guessing at what you're trying to say next. So I like to build my prompts in here. So if you look, this is the prompt that I built, and then that is the exact same prompt I put in at the very beginning of the conversation. Now you might be wondering, isn't that extra work? Well, sometimes you're typing away, and sometimes you might lose internet connection, or the page might refresh, and now you've been typing this long question and you lose it. And then that gets frustrating because then you gotta type it all again. So if you're doing your prompt in Notepad++ or even Notepad, doesn't matter, ahead of time, then you really have more control over what you're doing. And so I actually have lots of different prompts. So once again, here is, you are an expert at business processes, software architecture, and AI. So that's the persona I'm telling it. Okay, I'm meeting with a new client, and these are the things we want to talk about. And please, you know, and then it gave me what I wanted based on that prompt. So then the other thing is that when you are typing in here and say, let's switch back to the free version. So I go to a new thread and I'm typing in here, what are some good features of Perplexity Pro to show to a large group of people that belong. So now if you accidentally hit enter here, it's like, wait, no, I wanted to go down to the next line. Well, too late, you hit enter. And so now it's now starting to answer your question. And you're like, oh, well, then you have to go back and say that, that belonged to Network in Action International. Anyway, so it did go with whatever you gave it. It got it, went as far as it could. So here are some impressive features. Like I said, it's talking about GPT-4 Omni, Claude, and Sonar Large, about the different AIs that you can use. All these different things. And this brings up another great thing to use, is that when you're giving instructions to the AI, I'll come back to that. It is the more thorough you are with your prompt or your question, the better your answer is going to be. So in a lot of my prompts, I will tell it, please give me step-by-step instructions. And so if you're doing something like when I was trying to fix the air filter on my car, it's an air box, it's not an air filter. But so you say things like, what are the steps? Or please give me step-by-step instructions to do this or that. And that's very helpful, because then it will literally give you step 1, step 2, step 3, and that comes in very handy. Whereas if you just ask a general question, it will give you a general answer. Okay, so links to every reference source. Once again, that's a big difference between Perplexity and everything else. And even if you're using Claude 3 through Perplexity, then you get those reference sources. Also, the image generation using DALL-E, Playground, and Stable Diffusion. This is actually old. The Stable Diffusion is no longer one of the options. And you can do up to 50 a day, which I've never exceeded. You can do file analysis like I talked about. And there's lots of stuff that you can do. So let's see if there's any new questions in the chat. Yep, so saving your prompts, yep. And then, yeah. And then you can reuse those prompts when you're doing something, when you're doing a slightly different question, then you don't have to retype the whole thing. You can just go back to your prompt file and change it, copy it, change it a little, and that saves a lot of time. So glad you like that tip. Yep, so you can give pictures to the water heater, of the water heater. I did when I was having it walk me through replacing the air box, which is basically a permanent air filter. It was only in 2 years Ford made a permanent air filter. I think it's a great idea, but anyway, which means it's much more complex replacing that than it is just swapping out an actual air filter. Anyway, so let's go ahead and switch back to this. So basically, I've got this, and I'm trying to build a new Linux box for my son because his computer is dying. And so one thing I want to highlight here is that I personally feel, and there's a lot of feeling in the industry, is that please literally, please be polite when you're dealing with AIs, whatever they are. Yes, you turn off the option that says, don't allow it to use my information to train the AI, but it learns from our interactions. So it's just common courtesy to treat it like you would when you're talking to a normal person. And so I always say please. And when it gives me a good answer, or I'll say, oh, that's way too expensive, please find cheaper options. But normally I would say, so I say, thank you very much. Now, please tell me what the best entry-level GPU for AI processing that would work in this. Okay. And so it's just, and it's interesting because each AI responds slightly different to that. To me, Claude really likes that, whereas GPT-4 Omni doesn't really care. So and maybe that I'm just anthropomorphizing, great word for the day. Anthropomorphism. It's attributing human attributes to non-human things. Anyway, so that was another point I wanted to make. And so it can help you with shopping. So I am asking it what entry-level GPUs are good. And so it's giving me a price and where you could get it. So you can use this to do help you when you're you want to, whatever project it is, it'll actually give you ideas of where to get it and how much it costs. And then then it does that research for you in seconds instead of hours. So I highly recommend that. But it's very good to treat it like a conversation. Is there a cheaper option, please? And then boom, it does that. And the beauty about all this is that I've been scrolling for a while now, and I've had this conversation has been going on. I started it 14 days ago, probably. So I literally have multiple conversations going with Perplexity on multiple computers about different things. So yes, I could go back to my, library and pull up that conversation. But then you gotta scroll through and it's, so it's just much more efficient to me. Okay, so Daniello, yeah. Do you feel the conversation goes along, it starts to forget the details you gave it? That's my experience with generating code with ChatGPT. Yes, that does happen. And I do use AI to write AI code. I'm an AI advisor. It'd be dumb of me not to be using AI like every day in what I do. It's just another tool, and I think everyone should be doing it. And so the new thing with Perplexity, and especially with writing code, is there are these things called workspaces now that you can actually create a workspace and upload your code files into the workspace. And you can then use that workspace and share it with somebody else. So it becomes like an online repository that you can then ask it questions about stuff in the workspace. So instead of just uploading one file one time by using the plus button down here, you can actually give it 25 files and then ask it questions of those 25 files. So yeah, I upload different classes of code, and then it can reference that and it writes new code for me much faster. So yeah, it is a game changer. And so, but which brings up another point. I am an enterprise software architect. Okay, so don't expect that Kim, who's awesome, she's great at what she does. Don't think that Kim could use Perplexity to create an AI or a application or a phone app. Okay, she doesn't know everything that needs to go into creating software. I do, and so it is, so, and somebody had written down, does it help to write a book? Well, sure, but you still need to be a good author in order to be able to create a good book. And so I tell this to, actually did a presentation to a group of master's students who are getting their master's degrees, and they're concerned about how is this going to affect my job prospects. I also get companies ask me, you know, is AI going to put me out of business? And so for both of those, AI is just a tool. So my answer is no, AI is not going to put you out of business, and no, AI is not going to take your job. But somebody else who is using AI to be better at what they do and more efficient and more profitable, that person is going to put you out of your job. That company is going to put you out of business if you are not the one using that tool to level the playing field. So AI itself is just a tool. It is not going to, you know, put you out of business, but somebody else who's using AI might. So are you willing to disrupt yourself enough to learn new things? The tractor was a huge disruption to the farming industry, right? There was those who wanted to stay with the horse and plow, you know, because there's too much to learn for the newfangled tractor thing. But, you know, where are those people now? Yeah, they had to learn, oh, this is oil. You need to put oil in the engine for it to run. And, oh, okay. So there's stuff you need to learn, but with every major technology advancement, it's the same it's the same issue. So yes, so if you're a good author, then figure out how AI can make you an awesome author. You still need to be able to understand, you know, these are the good qualities of what makes a good book. And so you can have AI rewrite sections of your book. Absolutely. Say, you know, rewrite, you know, this chapter, put more emphasis on action, or whatever it is that you as an author know makes this a better book. You can't just say, okay, perplexity, make this chapter better. Well, it doesn't know how to do that. You have to define for it what makes it better. And so same thing with artists. My daughter is a animation major. And so with artists and animators, you can't just say, okay, make this picture cooler. Okay. It doesn't understand what that is, but people who are trained as a trained artist can say, okay, change the hue in the lower left quadrant, change the saturation, change the lighting, change these kinds of things. And they can talk to it in a way that the AI can understand, because the artist knows changing those things makes the art, you know, more mesmerizing, more, it gives across the feeling of what they're trying to convey with the piece of art. And AI can't do that by itself. So I can't just use Perplexity and generate, I mean, you can do some very cool things, but to actually create a masterpiece or to write a book, you still need to know, you need to be an expert in the field that you are having Perplexity or ChatGPT help you with. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. So speaking of which, I can show if anyone cares. Now, the other great thing about AI, and most people don't think about this, is that if you're not sure how to have AI help you, ask it. Just ask it. So we can say, somebody come up with a crazy idea for something that we want to get a picture of. Anybody? Or actually, my daughter had one just the other day. She's into role playing, and she's. Anybody have any ideas? Or a logo? Does somebody want a logo?
I have one that I was going to work on actually after in the meeting, but let's see what this comes up with. So I
Right.
want the crankset of a bicycle, like the gear on a bicycle.
Okay.
right?
Yep.
But with an alien head on the inside.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but like
Um,
make it like line art, like a two-tone.
Okay, so what I would normally do is I would go over here to my prompt. So can you type that into the chat so I can just copy and paste it?
Sure.
And then I'm going to add what I normally do. So please give me the best prompt to give to all company 3 to, and then I will get yeah,
How about that?
all right. And image. All right, so this is kind of my standard thing is, once again, if you're not sure how to do it, ask it how to ask. So I'm saying, please give me the best prompt to give to DALL-E 3 to get an image that, where'd my chat go? Chat disappeared. Get back. Okay. Okay, and you're actually giving it style. That's good. Most people don't know about that. So of a bicycle gear that is also an alien head, vector style, 3 colors. And so normally I would say, please give me the recommended style. But we'll just do, normally I would tell it what kind of style should I give, and I'll show you why later. Okay, so we're gonna say, all right, so we're gonna go back over to here, and we're gonna say, okay, so now if normally if you want to get an image out of it, you would do a new thread, because what it does is it creates it actually passes some of that information from Perplexity to DALL-E. Okay, so now I'm using the Pro version, and so I'm going to say, please give me the best prompt to give to DALL-E to get an image of a bicycle gear that houses an alien head, vector style 3. Okay. Okay, so now it added a minimalist vector illustration, gear morphing. Okay. So now what it explains why it gave you that. But I can, and so then the style is going to be flat graphic pattern. All right. So then
Those 1, 2, 3 after the prompt, are those different variations of the prompt?
those are the sources it gave.
Okay, okay.
Learn how to write DALL-E prompts. See, so that's
Gotcha.
how it got the information. And this one is DALL-E prompts and tricks. So instead of having to go and read those 3 articles, you just ask Perplexity, and boom, it
Gotcha.
gives you the prompt. So now I go over here to generate image, and then you could just have it generate a painting, a photograph, whatever, diagrams, but I'm going to do a custom prompt. And so now look at that. It actually took it and pasted it in there, so I didn't have to, because it knew what we were talking about, and it knew I wanted to give it to DALL-E. So instead of using detailed brush strokes, so we're gonna paste this in, and we're gonna give it the style of flat graphic design style. Okay, because that does make a difference. If you say dramatic brush strokes and you're looking for a vector illustration, it's gonna look weird. Okay,
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So here's our style, and here's what the subject is. Okay, so I'm going to hit submit. Now this little box, it's chasing its own tail. It's going around. It's thinking, and let's see if this is what you were thinking. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it should pop up.
Maybe it's if you scroll down.
No, it normally pops up.
I broke ChatGPT or Perplexity. Wait, is that it? View more? No, that ain't it.
And I did not ask it to generate these images. So that's, I'm not sure where it got those. Okay. So once again, this does happen once in a while because, you know, everything is a work in progress. So, which is a whole nother reason why you always put your stuff into Notepad++, because then you don't have to retype all that stuff and then you can save it. So let's go ahead and try that again. Then we're going to generate image. We're going to do custom. So I remembered that. And so then we're going to paste in flat graphic. And yeah, so now we're going to do submit. And I might have put too much in the style. Sometimes that can confuse it. I got the timing down pretty good last time, but it didn't show us it. So
That was impressive. Maybe hit refresh.
yeah, it really doesn't. No, it would normally pop right up. Oh,
Dang.
oh, it did do. Okay.
Yeah, all right. I like that first one better. That one's fresh.
So there's the first one, and then there's the second one. So yeah, I guess I just didn't refresh. Oh, maybe it's because I'm sharing on Zoom and it's taking some of my video resources. Okay. So you like that one. All right.
Yeah.
There you go. So that is how you can get whatever's in your head out onto the computer. And you can do as many revisions as you want. I think there's a limit of 50 per day, but I'm usually exhausted after 3 or 4. So, and so then you can just, you can right click and save the image. You can crop it. You can do whatever you want from that point. All right, so we covered that. Let's go back to the chat. All right. Okay, so that's also a good idea, but show Florida with snow and a hurricane. Yes, that could happen. Anyway, so I think we get the idea of what you can do with that. You can also just generate a illustration on the fly and it will just come up with anything just random. It's kind of amazing. But you would normally, if you want to do a diagram, then tell it you want to do a diagram. AI to create automated workflows. So it's that is a good question. I've tried it in the past, like 6 months ago. It didn't do very good with that. But hey, let's, what kind of workflow would you like? Since this is a hands-on workshop, let's go back to our, so let me think if we've got a workflow. Or Steve says make.com for workflows. Like I said, if there isn't one out there right now, wait a week and there'll probably be an app to do something that you want. Converting email. Vendor and product manufacturing choices. No, I haven't. There are, like, there is the option to do diagrams and you can tell it, give it information on what kind of diagram you want, and it will generate that. But let's see what, I mean, because I literally said, just give me a diagram. So you would normally want to do the plus and do a custom And once again, it probably didn't refresh because I'm sharing on Zoom. So it took our current theme because I didn't give it more information, and it said, okay, well, let's take a diagram of this last one we did and what would that look like. So that's pretty slick. That it can go from, it remembers the conversation that you're having and going from there. So if you had a, product manufacturing choices, that would be interesting. Wow, it's almost 4 o'clock already. Where did the time go? That is just crazy how fast that goes. Okay, I think I already talked about being polite. I talked about the step-by-step, putting your stuff into Notepad. And like I said, with the pro version and with the free version, you get a certain number of you can upload multiple files and analyze those files. And then with workspaces, which is absolutely unique, ChatGPT does not offer it yet. The workspaces of being able to upload up to 25 files and load files into there, and then ask it questions of those 25 files, or use those, if they're code files, saying, okay, referencing so if you have a general style sheet, create me another HTML page that uses that style sheet, inherits from the base HTML that does this, and it will generate the code for you. But once again, you need to know what good code looks like, because if it's not writing the code that you want, then that's a problem. So once again, figure out what you're good at, what you're passionate about, and then just start playing around with AI and seeing how it can make you better at that, is what I recommend to everybody. So.
Mrs. Spencer, thank you so much for this. It looks like our founder here, he's coming in and he has a thought that he would like to bring into the conversation. Scott, you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, thank you so much, Spencer. That was invaluable. I just wanted to mention and encourage each one of you to create an electronic file. We're going to be sending you, after every meeting, follow-up. So you may have already started to see a couple of emails with different prompts for sales, prompts for copywriting, prompts for getting yourself right mindset-wise. So you're going to see 2 or 3 emails after every meeting before the speaker all year. And I hope you'll sort of hang on to that stuff and be able to access it to make your life a little bit easier, be a little more efficient, make a little more money, spend a little more time with your family. Thank all of you for your time. Thank you, Kim, for the introduction. And Spencer, thanks for all of your expertise.
Very welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Good to see everyone.
Thank you, buddy.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Clint.
Yep.
Thank you.